Hello and welcome again to another beautiful episode of Movies Dissect. I'm your host, Vicar Hikodi Godwins, and today I am bringing you one of the legendary movies that was revamped in the 20s again. This particular movie is called Rattlesnake. Rattlesnake. It was one of those movies back then in the days that had a lot of lessons that we needed to learn. Rattlesnake was first released in 1995. I think it had a part one and part two. It starts Francis Duru, Nkemowo, Sonny McDonald, Bob Manuel Udoku, and a couple of other people like Obiadeli Molobe, Ernest Obi. I think those were the people who acted the first Rattlesnake. Like I said, it was written by Amaka Igwe. Then, in 2020, Ramsey Noah decided to reproduce the movie again. He directed the movie this time. It was produced with Chris O'Day, who is, I think, the CEO of Play. And they all went back to the story. This time with new casts like Stan Nze, Toby Bakare, again, my guy, Kelechiku, but her name is, people know her more as Elma Madu Mbadiwe, Osasi Igodao, Emeka, and this guy I love when he acts. I think this was a movie that made me even get to know him very well. Busi Franklin, I hope I pronounced that well. Now, when we come back, I'm going to tell you a little bit of the old story of Rattlesnake and then the new story of Rattlesnake, and we will now rate it in our third segment. See you soon. And we are back. And we were talking about, before the break, we were talking about Rattlesnake, the original Rattlesnake, and then the revamped version of the old Rattlesnake of 1995, which was done in 2020. Yeah. So the first movie showed us Ahana and his siblings lost their dad. I can't remember if it was through an accident or he was sick, but at the end of the day, we found out that it was his brother that actually killed him to be able to marry his mom. And when he married their mom, he began to, torture them, like maltreat them, not give them the right treatment that their dad was giving them, stop paying their school fees and a couple of things. And then Ahana got into the streets and became a criminal. So in 2020, the story was kind of revamped this time, but this time it was revamped with more, should I use the word flashiness? The cars, the wealth, the kind of, so it wasn't just the typical stealing, carrying gun and stealing anymore. It was other, wonderful things that were added to it. And the same producers were the producers who had done Living in Bondage again, and Ineka the Pretty Serpent. They had gone back to all those stories and worked on them. And I think from the revamp, they were able to do a good story that maybe not as good as the old story, because the old story was actually originally done in Igbo. So it wasn't an English movie, it was an Igbo movie. But it made if we were really to grade it back then, it sold. The new Rattlesnake had almost same vibe, almost same storyline, but like I said, with some spice of flashiness, the cars, the clubs, the party, the life of the 2020s, the life that we presently live of phones and brand new cars and all that stuff. So it was really flashy. And I think for everything, the fact that the producers could have the initiative to go back to old stories and revamp them to new stories, to give guide to new stories, I think it was a good one. So when we return, we would give this movie its rating. And the reason why we're going to give it its rating is, remember, it's an international movie. When I say it's an international movie, it was on Netflix. So because it was on Netflix, it also has an international rating. So it's something we can actually, go into and look how deep they analyzed it well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and leave your comments. I'll see you soon when we return after the break. And we're back. The Ahana story, Rattlesnake, the 2020 film, which is different from the 1995 movie, is what we were talking about before the break. And the Ahana story was released on the 13th of November 2020 in the Nigerian, on the platform where it's being, the streaming platform where it runs, which is Netflix. The box office for this movie was 70 million. But I think they did a very good job. I think they did a fantastic job. I think the play production team, they always try to outdo themselves. So, international rating for this, and when I mean international rating, I mean the people who have reviewed this movie before us. They have said that this movie is a 4.9 over 10. So if we say a movie is 4.9, that means it's like 50% over 100, 50 over 100 on our platform here, which means the editing, the camera movement, storyline, costume. Yeah, I think they use flamboyant costumes. The characterization. So I always say before anything, the likes of Toby Bakare, Stan Nze, when they're in a movie, they just make you fall in love with the movie. Osasi Godao, and I must give a big shout out to her because she just won the Best Actress again 2 times in a row. Yeah. So in total, directing, because Ramsey Noah did a very good job directing this movie, I would score it a 7. Dialogue in the movie, I'll give it a 6. Sound, I'll give it a 6. Setting, the lavishness in the setting, yes, I think I'll give it 8. Cultural impact, well, we've not seen much of it, but yes, from the lessons you learn from movies that you watch, we can also say that they give moral lessons, right? So we hope that whatever people watch from these movies, they tend to take the positive part of it and work with it in their everyday life. So I would give it a 7. And then characterization, like I said, whenever I see a movie and then that movie has Stan Nze and what's its name again? Stan Nze, Toby Bakari, Osasi Godal. Those are people you really want to just see their movies. Emma Mbadiwe. Yes, I would say for those roles, for the people that were given those roles, they gave the right characterization. Yes, I forgot to mention somebody, Chinyere Wilfred. She was also in that movie, and it was a good movie. So it was good characterization, and I would say I would give it a 9 for the characterization, the people who played each character, a 9. Ransinora's role there, though not so much, but I think it was also a good one to direct and at the same time act. It's not something very easy. Costume was good. Storyline was awesome. Even if it was like a remix of the 1995 movie, it also was awesome. Camera movement and editing, I'll give a 10 for storyline. I'll give a 10 for storyline. Yes, I'll give it 10 for storyline because that tweaking a story from the old story without really being influenced by that old story, it's something. But if you have issues with all of our ratings, like I said, that's why the comment is there. Make your comments and let's have your own ratings. Thank you for watching today's episode with us. Thank you for always going to our post and view our videos and then watch and then share and then like and then subscribe. We're grateful. Till I see you again in our next episode where we discuss and dissect another wonderful Nigerian movie. Don't forget to leave the movies you would like us to review on our comments, on your comments also, or with your comments also, and then always come back to this channel. I remain your host, Vikari Ehikodi Godwin. See you in our next episode.